In the heart of Abuja, where ambition moves as fast as the city lights and success often comes with silent competition, there lived a young woman named Zara. She was admired not only for her beauty, but for her kindness. As she used her growing platform as a creator and designer to uplift others and bring visibility to overlooked voices, her presence felt genuine in a world that often rewarded appearances. And people were drawn to her in ways she never expected. However, not everyone celebrated her rise. Zara lived with her stepmother, Madame Evelyn, a powerful and highly respected businesswoman who had long been admired within Abuja's elite circles. For years, Evelyn had enjoyed influence, recognition, and control. But as Zara's presence began to grow, she found herself gradually overshadowed. What began as quiet discomfort soon deepened into jealousy, and that jealousy slowly transformed into something far more calculated. Without revealing her intentions, Evelyn began to interfere with Zara's opportunities. Deals that once seemed certain suddenly disappeared. Partnerships fell apart without explanation, and people who had once been supportive began to distance themselves. Zara, unaware of the source, struggled to understand why everything she had built was slipping away. The situation escalated when a scandal emerged online, accusing her of stealing designs. And the accusation spread so quickly that it left no room for her to defend herself. Within days, the reputation she had worked so hard to build collapsed. Overwhelmed and deeply hurt, Zara chose to leave Abuja and step away from everything she once knew. She found refuge in a small creative community on the outskirts of the city, where people welcomed her without judgment and valued her for who she was rather than what she had lost. In that quiet space, she began to rebuild her life. This time not for validation or recognition, but for purpose. Her work became more honest and more connected to her identity. And through that process, she slowly rediscovered her strength. It was during this period of rebuilding that she met Daniel, a photographer and creative director who worked within the same community. From the beginning, he approached her differently from others. He did not question her past or treat her as someone defined by scandal. Instead, he engaged with her work, her thoughts, and her growth. Their connection developed naturally through shared creativity and long conversations. And over time, Zara began to feel seen in a way she had never experienced before. Daniel's presence was steady and patient, and through that consistency, she gradually allowed herself to trust again. As Zara's confidence returned, so did her ability to stand firmly in her truth. However, one evening, Daniel revealed something that shook her deeply. He admitted that he had known who she was from the beginning, and that he had been part of the agency that once dropped her during the scandal. The confession reopened wounds she thought had begun to heal, and for a moment, it felt as though she was once again standing in the middle of betrayal. Unable to process the weight of that truth, she chose to step away from him, needing space to protect the progress she had made. While she struggled with this revelation, the truth behind the scandal finally began to surface. Hidden records, timestamps, and communications were uncovered, revealing that the accusations against Zara had been carefully orchestrated. All evidence pointed back to Madame Evelyn, whose jealousy had driven her to destroy the very person she felt threatened by. As the truth spread, Evelyn's carefully maintained reputation collapsed, and the same world that once admired her began to see her actions clearly. Daniel returned to Zara, not to defend himself, but to acknowledge his role in what had happened and to stand beside her in honesty. He did not ask for immediate forgiveness, understanding that trust could not be restored through words alone. Instead, he remained present, giving her the time and space she needed to decide for herself. Over time, Zara recognized that while Daniel had been part of a system that hurt her, he had also chosen to see her differently and support her growth without expectation. Through patience and consistency, trust was slowly rebuilt, not as something fragile, but as something intentional. One evening, he brought her to a rooftop overlooking the city, the same place she once associated with pressure and expectation. As they stood together, he spoke with a quiet certainty, expressing that he had fallen in love not with the version of her that the world admired, but with the woman she had become through hardship and growth. In that moment, he asked her to build a future with him, promising not perfection, but honesty and commitment. Zara, now grounded in her self-worth, accepted, not out of need, but from a place of clarity and peace. Their wedding was simple and intentional, surrounded by people who truly understood their journey. As Zara walked down the aisle, she felt no pressure to perform or prove anything. Instead, she carried a sense of calm that came from knowing who she was. When they exchanged vows, their words were not about ideal love, but about growth, respect, and the choice to continue building together. In the months that followed, Zara reflected on everything she had endured and realized that what once felt like loss had actually been redirection. She had not been broken. She had been reshaped into someone stronger and more. As for Madame Evelyn, she was left to confront the consequences of her actions, learning too late that jealousy destroys what integrity could have sustained. Zara's story did not end with being the most admired or the most visible. It ended with something far more meaningful: peace, purpose, and a love that was built on truth. Jealousy may try to break you, but self-worth and growth will always rebuild you stronger. True success and true love come when you know who you are and refuse to compromise it.